Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this episode of G Bears Off-Grid Ways, a homestead in the desert, the 23rd of April, 5:08 p.m. Yeah, I've been going all day long since this time in the morning. Yeah, long day. Well, winds have come up again, and they don't really die down altogether. I mean, we're getting winds here through the whole day, except just before Andy got here. And he was only here about 15 minutes. The winds had died down to practically nothing, and then they came back up again. But I did get some things done. I got my winter stuff that I had stored right here in the cabin all put away in the containers. I did a couple of loads of laundry, and I did some dusting. I did some vacuuming. I did some window cleaning. I did a little bit of everything. So, as I step out here, I got my windproof mic on because, yes, it is windy. And I still have a load in the dryer. And I had to clean Tomcat's cage out today. And when I came out this morning, he was actually laying right there on the ground under his condo, staring at me. As calm as could be, just staring at me. And I talked to him. I was hanging clothes up. He just stayed right there while I was doing all my laundry. And then all of a sudden I looked and he was gone. He'd taken off somewhere. I said, well, I'm out here anyway. I'll go over and clean his cage. Well, no wonder he was staring at me. He was out of water and he was out of food. So he's looking at me as if to say, hey, what the hell kind of a chambermaid are you? You're not cleaning my place. So I went over and cleaned it. I also took the front panel off because when I opened up the cage, it was pretty hot in there. And that's why he drank up all his water, was because of how hot it was. And I don't want that to be a hot box, like a World War II hot box for the cat. So I said, oh, what the heck. And I cleaned him out real good, put his water and his food back in there, so he's all set. Then I came out and I did some work in the container while waiting for Andy. And one of the things that I did, I'm going to take you over here. And oh, why are you locked? You're not locked. Huh. There we go. Anyway, I made these two things. Yeah, you can see what they look like. And you wonder to yourself, well, what are they? Well, what these are is when you're grafting on a tree, and I like the brass better than the aluminum, but the aluminum is lightweight for real fine skin trees. If it's a little heavier, you tend to want to push a little too hard. You could tear the bark. So what do you do with these is, after you cut the T in the bark, you want to open up the two flaps a little bit so you can put your wedged scion into there. So this helps you do that. And what you do is you start this by lifting up on one side of the flap, on one side, and then you do the other one the same thing. Then you put this straight down the center and push down lightly while you spread it apart in basically the same shape as you've cut the wedge in your scion for grafting a tree. So, great little handy tool, and I think I did a nice job on these things, even just using some scrap wood, a couple of pop rivets, and doing some sanding and grinding, and I got me a couple of really nice ones here. So I will be doing a lot more grafting coming this year because my grafts down there are doing really well, the earlier ones that I did, and they'll be producing probably next year, not this year, of course, because they're still young. But next year I'll end up getting production off of those grafts, and then I'll be adding more grafts on. And what I'll be looking for is my baby apricot tree and my baby plum tree. Both of those were germinated from seed from fruit that I just bought at the market. And because of that, you can't always rely on those trees to produce fruit. You don't know what you're going to get when you do that. So basically, they're going to end up being rootstock for me to graft successfully productive trees. I'll take some scions off of those and I'll graft them onto those. And of course, the apricot I could also graft onto a peach tree because it is a stone fruit. So I can play around with those things a little bit while I'm doing that. All right, so Andy has a house battery in there. It's one of the large batteries, and it really was not getting a full charge in it. It got up to about 12.4, 12.5, but that's about all it could get out of it. So we were talking about getting them a new battery for there at the same place I picked up my new batteries. And they have refurbished ones there in the yellow tops, size 31, that would have only cost them $75 plus the core charge. But if you had the core from this one, there would be no charge on it. So it would just be the $75 and you'd get another battery in there that'll just do them just fine. But then I said, you know what? I've got that little repair unit over there for repairing batteries, and I used it when all my batteries were stone dead from the crashed solar panels that I had, and I brought them all back to life. So I said, hey, why not? It doesn't cost us anything to try it. So that's why I got an extension cord running from the cabin all the way over to the side of the motorhome over there, and I've got that little charger set up over there doing this thing. And it still says it's in repair. It's been on there a few hours, and that's a good thing. If you put those things on and they come back in an hour or two and say unable to repair, that means that the battery is just too far gone. But if it takes a long time and it's just sitting there saying repair in progress, that's a good sign. That means that it's doing its job, and maybe you could save that battery. But I've got that, I've got the refrigerators, I've got the ice makers, I got TVs, everything running, and I got 13.8 still in the batteries, and I'm on float. On all my systems are all float. 13.7, 13.8, 13.5, 13.6 down there. I'm on float, and I'm running just about all of the stuff I could run inside right now without actually turning air conditioning on. So that's going to be a great experiment. I got to get my kilowatt meter out, and I think it's up here on this junk shelf somewhere, buried under all that stuff. I'm going to get that out, and we're going to do a test to see how much Andy's air conditioner draws, and that'll tell us what we can do for setting up his solar on his motorhome to be able to handle the air conditioner. And we'll see if the new panels that we're going to be able to put up there are going to do the job, or if he'll have to get one more or whatever. We're not going to be able to do it with these winds. And the weather report says there's a possibility, as a matter of fact, they said a good possibility of us getting some, a tenth of an inch of rain or something on Monday, which is really weird. Because, you know, April usually marks the end of the rainy season here in California. And to date, the rest of the state, Orange County, LA County, all of them are 8.5, almost 9 inches below normal. And here, I only got like between 5/8 and 3/4 of an inch of rain for the whole year. So that's really weird. And that wasn't a lot of water. Well, I still got water down here yet in my totes. That one's full, that one's full. Those I've been using to water the garden, and that one I've been using to water the garden house, or the greenhouse. So I've been using some of the water, but I've got those little barrels are full. That white barrel is half full. I still have water over there. And I've got 80 gallons still inside the van that I'll be pumping out of there. And since I don't really need it down here, I'll pump it into my main tank up at the top side. And I was going to take you for a walk up there and show you how much water I still got left. The new pump is great. No noises of pumps running inside the cabin and water pressure on a constant. Just real nice. Took a shower there last night again, and standing in there, I got to really remind myself that I'm not on the grid somewhere. So I got to remind myself not to take too long of a shower, because I was feeling really comfortable in there with that water beating down my neck. Got to keep an eye on that, because I don't want to use up too much water, and I don't want to run my electric bill up. That's the worst thing. Anyway, you saw another thing before I close this. You saw when I made those two little tools for grafting that the handles were held on with pop rivets. Now I think that's sexist. How come they don't have mom rivets? Only pop rivets, no mom rivets. That's ridiculous. I think somebody should complain. Why not? Somebody complains about all kinds of things, right? Somebody's always complaining. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. G-Bear reminding you, thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, share, save, do all those things. Those little icons down there are not there just for looks. You can use those. They're a lot of fun to use, too. Thanks for joining me. G-Bear signing off.